Wellesley-Weston Lifetime Learning offers non-credit courses to seniors in the Greater Boston area. For more information about WWLL and links to our videos, please go to www.llcourses.org.
Well, I'm delighted to introduce Jamie Jurgensen, Director of the Wellesley Free Library, and our speaker here this morning. She's chosen as her topic the evolving role of the town library. All of us, I'm sure, are aware of the dramatic shift in library philosophy and practice over our own lifetimes. My own earliest recollection of a public library in Britain is of a large, silent Victorian building dedicated to the preservation and safekeeping of books, all bound identically in very durable, I think it was called sturdy cloth, a kind of tough, or very tough, canvas-backed material, presided over by a team of enormously severe librarians who intimidated most of the readers. Today's libraries are fortunately very different. User-friendly and welcoming, with outreach programs to attract the entire community. Libraries have reinvented themselves as a vibrant community resource. They maintain music and film collections, utilize internet resources, and embrace such technological innovations as self-checkout machines, digitized catalogs, and electronic services. Jamie has witnessed and contributed to that evolution and has had experience of different public library systems across the United States. A graduate of the University of Wisconsin, her first position was as children's librarian in Providence, Rhode Island. She followed that with 11 years in the Colorado public system before being appointed special collections manager to a public library in Minnesota. 3 years ago, she assumed leadership of the Wellesley Free Library, where her vision and experience adds to its reputation and importance in the life of our town. So please welcome Jamie Jurgensen.
Thank you for coming today. So in short, the WFL serves as a community gathering place, a cultural destination, and a gateway to ideas. That's our mission, and it's been that mission for quite a while. When we talk about libraries of tomorrow, it's helpful to know what libraries are doing today and what they've done in the past. Surprisingly, many of the services haven't changed, but the way in which they are delivered have. Of course, I hope we're much nicer than jail librarians. Much of that change is owing to advances in technology. So we love books here, right? So let's start with books. There are over 300,000 print and ebooks in the WFL collection. Last year, over 760,000 items were circulated and renewed, and over 500,000 of those items were books. I'm happy to report that people are still reading and doing a lot more at the library. In addition to print, there are new ways to read books today. Launch pads are tablets that are preloaded with interactive content and ready to check out. They are available for both adults and children, and for those of you already downloading ebooks, you'll recognize the Overdraft app, an easy and convenient source for ebooks and downloadable audio available throughout the Minuteman library system. So, in addition to print and electronic reading, there are also new reading experiences offered at the library. Reading to a Therapy Dog is currently offered at libraries nationwide, in addition to Wellesley. Reading to a dog is more than just cute. Youngsters who may be apprehensive about learning to read or reading aloud find that a dog listens patiently, without judgment, so that reading becomes a positive experience. The program results in children who feel comfortable reading aloud, read more often, and attempt challenging books and look forward to reading. Today, in addition to books, there are new materials to check out. Do you need an umbrella for a surprise downpour while you've been browsing in the library? We have them. Do you want to spend an evening looking at the stars through a telescope? We have them. Reduce, reuse, and recycle with our Library of Things collection. Library of Things is an umbrella term for non-traditional items that are offered in many libraries. Board games and puzzles happen to be some of the most popular items checked out at Wellesley. Jill mentioned self-checkouts, so patrons still need to check out materials. Today, instead of waiting in long lines to get your book stamped, patrons have the option of using an express self-checkout machine that increases efficiency as well as provides patrons with privacy when checking out their materials. Of course, if patrons want to speak to a happy face, a library assistant is always nearby to help out. Still a major activity at the library, the need for quiet study space hasn't disappeared, but the way people are studying has changed to typically include a laptop, the need for an outlet to charge that laptop, and usually a cup of coffee. Gathering. So libraries have always been community gathering places. Andrew Carnegie famously said, "A library outranks any one other thing a community can do to benefit its people. It is a never-failing spring in the desert." Carnegie believed in libraries as cultural centers, and in fact, one of his first funded libraries, built in 1889, was expanded in 1893 to include a music hall, a gymnasium, and a swimming pool. Learning. So learning is a lifelong pursuit of Wellesley-Weston learners, and it certainly seems more fun in the 21st century if you compare the story times. From story times to technology classes, learning at the library is filled with imagination, curiosity, and fun. In fact, we just transformed Wellesley's Fells Branch Library. It was formerly a one-room schoolhouse to become a library focused on the learning needs of 0 to 6-year-olds. It will, of course, still have bestsellers for adults. People can still place holds and pick them up there. But now it's grand opening on November 17th. And if you want to see it and learn more about it, you can go to our website. But it is fantastic. It is adorable and imaginative and colorful and a wonderful space just to be in. So that was a very brief and very broad history, but looking at advances from just the last 20 years presents a lot of changes. Today, technology, of course, plays a huge role in how we serve the public and how people see libraries changing now and in the future. If you can imagine, in 2007, the first iPhone was released. I don't know if you can imagine being without a smartphone at this point, but I mean, that was only 11 years ago. And the way mobile technology has changed, how libraries do things, how people do things, has been immense. So, from flagship libraries in places like Seattle and Boston and Minneapolis, these are the big, beautiful libraries we see, to branches in the same metropolitan areas. Jamaica Plain up in the upper left-hand corner from Boston, that's Rosemount where I worked in Minnesota, and in the lower left is the Magnolia neighborhood in Seattle. I think one thing to notice about these libraries, and especially branches, is if you can see that lower left-hand picture, notice how much space is dedicated to gathering and how much is dedicated to books, right? So as a gathering place, it is no longer a warehouse of materials. It is a place for people to gather and learn. To our own consortium of 41 libraries with a combined total of 6 million items that are available to the Minuteman Library System and the Minuteman Library patrons, we see changes happening all the way down to the Wellesley Free Library where we are. So all those libraries, the big ones to the small ones, the needs of patrons seem to be similar. Patrons want access to a wealth of materials. They want access to information. There's a need for study space, meeting space, and community gathering. We, along with our mission, do a strategic plan every 5 years, and we do surveys, we do observation studies, we do other different kinds of surveys to find out what our patrons are doing and what they want. We noticed that, when we did an observation, 60% of our patrons are using mobile devices. This has an impact on how we serve people and how we want our website to look and how we want it to be seen on a cell phone. So these trends are happening in Wellesley, and we also, as librarians, read about these innovations and these future trends every day in professional journals. We look at things like automated check-in, that's called an automated materials handler, evolving library collections, meeting spaces, gathering spaces, flexible furnishings. So everywhere you see a highlighted note, that's one of these trends, and you just see it in every single professional journal that you read. It's happening all across the country. So I'll go through these in more detail with you on the following slides. An automated materials handler. So let's start with that, it's pretty exciting. It's becoming commonplace for new buildings since about 2010, so 8 years ago. These conveyors utilize RFID, that's what we have in our books at Wellesley, Radio Frequency, and they make handling large volumes of collection more manageable. If you can imagine, all those books that come into Wellesley, if they were checked in and rough sorted when the library opened for business after an evening, a weekend, or a holiday, how much more efficient that would be. So increases in efficiency, accuracy, and the ability to deploy employees to more direct patron service. They're all benefits of an AMH, or automated materials handler. Wellesley Free Library will have one installed by the end of the fiscal year, so you can see it in action. Study and workspaces. So, study rooms in Santa Monica Public Library are pictured on the left, as is an idea for a library to use literary quotes in its study rooms on the right. Glass walls, wired for sound, wired for media, soundproofing, they're all typical and necessary in the creation of a 21st century study room. As more people work remotely, and as schools encourage more group projects as a teaching method, the need for study room spaces like these grows. So Wellesley Free Library, WFL, has seen some of the greatest increases in use when looking at our meeting rooms, whether it be for town boards, departments, nonprofit organizations, or for-profit meetings. Our meeting rooms are typically reserved at capacity. They are extremely popular. A modern meeting room at Milwaukee Public Library is pictured on the right, and both photos demonstrate how flexible furnishings, bright spaces, whiteboards, smart boards have all become commonplace expectations for meeting rooms in libraries. Gathering spaces. So, waterfalls and fireplaces in libraries, yes. In addition to becoming focal points, they also create a warm, welcoming environment, perfect for a community gathering place. That's Randolph, New Jersey on the right, and Cofer Library in DeKalb County, Georgia on the left. Flexible furnishings, things on wheels. So from tables that can be moved to accommodate one person to a group of 10, to bookshelves that can be rolled to clear space for a program, furniture on wheels has many benefits. It allows the quick transformation of space and sometimes even transforms the use of furniture itself. As is the case with these tables, they transform from simple side tables to become laptop tables that can be pulled towards you in seconds. As we build for the goal of flexibility and building for a mobile, ever-changing environment, Flexible furnishings provide a way for space to evolve in a matter of minutes. A commons area, also known as a cafe if you sell food. So from Moline to Portland, commons areas and cafes can vary in size and offerings. Boston Public Library added a beautiful cafe that is a destination in itself, whereas Westwood Library offers patrons the opportunity to grab a seat and sip on a beverage that they brought from home or purchased from a nearby shop. In gathering feedback for our 5-year strategic plan, a place to gather, drink coffee, and utilize Wi-Fi was a recurring request that rose to the top of the list as a primary need. Patrons are telling us they want a spot to drink a beverage or eat a snack while connecting with Wi-Fi, colleagues, or friends. So browsing for materials. Circulation areas are beginning to look more like bookstores, and there's good reason for this. The trend to break down barriers to service, including standing behind a giant desk in a library, is a practice of the past. As we ask staff to become more fearless, flexible, and fun, we expect that staff are getting out from behind those desks and helping patrons in a more direct manner. By walking patrons to hold shelves, accompanying them to find a book, or assisting them at the patron's point of need for computer help or anything else. In addition, allowing patrons access to their holds, self-checkout, and marketing new materials in an engaging display has proven to increase circulation. In our observation study that we did over the course of a 4-month period, we kept track of how many people were browsing our stacks. So if you've been to the Wellesley Library on the 2nd floor, there's stacks of materials, and how many people were browsing on our 1st floor, which is where we put the new materials. And it was amazing because it was a 1-digit percentage for the number of people browsing the stacks. But the people browsing the new materials was a very high percentage. So that tells us that people are using our online catalog and putting things on hold when they're at home. They're going to pick up those items. So very specific books, older books, they'll put on hold from home. They'll come in and they'll pick it up on the hold shelf. While going to the hold shelf, we see people browsing our displays and our new materials and then checking out from there. So, interactive learning. These are children's rooms, and when you see bells, you get that feel, but in a more subdued tone. Hybert's Library in the Bronx to Evanston Library in the suburb of Chicago, children's rooms are being built to promote imagination, creativity, and a love for learning. An interactive play space ranks high on library lists because it offers a place to become inspired and become lifelong learners. A children's space that solely provides books is no longer considered excellent or top-tier service. As we learn more about evolving about evolving pre-literacy and ongoing literacy needs in terms of social and critical learning skills, we begin to build an environment that not only encourages the youngest learner, but engages and thrills learners of all ages. Learning is fun, and we want our built environment to reflect that concept. So technology. So, how do you design for a technologically advanced community that is changing all the time? You have to build with agility in mind. It's a mobile world, and people are carrying that world in their laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Libraries that build for technology build for flexibility by improving the wiring infrastructure, minimizing immovable pieces of furniture, and maximizing agility by incorporating plugs and outlets everywhere. The librarians of today and the future are addressing the technology needs of patrons as well as decreasing the digital divide. Through classes, coaching, and one-on-one computer service, libraries are rising to the challenge by providing access as well as assistance. Technology also gives libraries new ways of disseminating information. Digitizing collections, such as historical maps, allows more space for gathering, while at the same time allows more access to more materials. For example, WFL is currently in the process of digitizing its high school yearbook collection. It spans almost 100 years, and it will be available to people online. We get a lot of calls from people out of state who call the reference desk and say, hey, can you look up this person for me, these activities from 1940, and they're out of state, and so we look it up, we scan it, and then we fax it to them. When this is online, they can just go in and find exactly what they need in a matter of minutes. Sustainable and flexible spaces. Flexibility is key. And so sustainability. Building green has become important for libraries. That's why most libraries that have building projects make sure sustainability is built into the design. Libraries try to hire architects who are well-versed and enthusiastic about building green for everyone's future. So all of these trends that I talked about can be filtered down into what we are doing and what we see happening at WFL. We have opportunities at WFL. When WFL was designed, we didn't have wireless, we didn't have mobile phones, and to think of the changes that have happened since it was designed in 1997 and opened in 2003 are enormous. And we're excited about planning and building for the future. Through a renovation at WFL that doesn't add square footage, but reutilizes and maximizes what space we currently have, we have the opportunity to provide all of the things that we've discussed today and to serve its forward-looking population with a continued best-in-class building in the coming years. So we're looking at adding study rooms, adding the commons area that we talked about, an updated and reimagined children's room, modernized lobby so more new browsing can happen. We're going to upgrade the technology infrastructure, add plugs everywhere. And basically, when you take into account what we looked at with our architect, we're reutilizing about 6,500 square feet of underutilized space. So, I'm going to just kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. This is our current media room. So again, when this building was built, DVDs, are at the height of popularity. People download and stream DVDs nowadays, and that's the collection that we see trending downward out of all of our collections. So we want to keep these things because people are still checking them out, but we do not need a huge space devoted just to DVDs and music CDs. The idea is that we'll move those things upstairs, and then this space that we have in our media room becomes a commons area where people can bring in a soda, bring in a coffee, bring in their laptop. We'll have movable, flexible furniture, so if one person wants to come in, they can sit at a table. If they have a group of 10, you can move the tables around and have a quick meeting. The triangular space is the media area. That large yellow space is the children's area. And then the lobby area is the rectangular orange space. Upstairs, you see the big difference on the top of the plan. You see all those little tiny study rooms and then a meeting room. Those are all added rooms. But we'll look at pictures. So children's space. Our children's space at Wellesley is very nice. It's very well maintained. It's not quite up to speed with the pure imagination spaces we see in California and Colorado and other places like that. So the idea is that we would enhance that space. I showed you at the top of the plan all those little rooms. Right now we have carrels in that area, and we would be moving the carrels over, so we would still have study carrels, but we can make use of that space in a much better manner by building all of these little glass study rooms that we get so many requests for day in and day out. So I talked about those giant desks, right? You may see it when you come in and not even think about it, but that is our giant desk at the Wellesley Library. It spans basically one side of the library lobby to the other side of the lobby. The idea is that we would get rid of that desk and make that desk about 1/3 of its size. And the space that we say, we can add more new materials, more new books, more popular browsing, which is what people have shown us that they really want. So in 1904, Exploring New Worlds was a part of WFL. Exploring is still part of WFL, and as our connections and our ability to access information from around the world grows, the world feels like it can sometimes fit in your palm. Libraries continue to help communities gather, learn, imagine, grow, and explore in this whole world. So while I can't tell you exactly what the library will look like in the future, I hope this presentation helps you envision the possibilities. And I'm happy to take any questions.
As I understand it, a few months ago or 7 months ago, many of the kind of enhancements and upgrades that you mentioned were presented apparently at approximately a $3 million proposal. And you mentioned that the machine, which was approved, will be forthcoming. If I'm understanding correctly, the other upgrades were tabled, at least for the present. Is there an update to that, or is that going to be, is it in the process of being re-proposed or modified?
Absolutely.
Just speak to that, please.
Yes. We do, in fact, we went to town meeting last spring, and we proposed this renovation project, which was about $3.5 million. The renovation project failed by about 3 votes, and so we were very happy to bring back this proposal at this next spring town meeting. We actually go to PDC on Thursday, and they will provide us with updated numbers and look at our work plan and find out the most efficient way to do this. Thank you.
I just wondered, the PBS just had a series on the Great American Book Read. It was really fantastic, and they picked 100 books that were popular, and at the end, I don't think it's finished. America's most popular book. Has anybody watched that series? It's really been 2.5 years. I just thought I'd mention it because it was really very interesting.
Yes, and those are great for bringing communities together. And in fact, we have what we call Wellesley Reads, and the town of Wellesley has chosen a book this year. It's Frankenstein, and we have many events surrounding with that book and lots of STEM activities for kids. It's a great series, and I hope you take a look at our website and find out what we have going on at the library. Great books.
In late years, a lot of libraries have had to cut back on hours, and towns have tightened up the bill, I guess because they found circulation falling and costs not falling. Now, I wonder, for instance, I guess our town pays for the library entirely, if that's true of the state, but what about poorer communities? I wonder how well served are they, like Western Mass and things like that. I'm sure that the things that are available here are not available there, and they seem relatively deprived, if that's true.
Certainly, districts that aren't as fortunate as Wellesley struggle. In fact, today, I was just reading an article about a county system in Oregon that they had a measure to vote on to increase their library tax bill by $6 a month for an average home, and that measure failed. And so these libraries in I think it was Douglas County, Oregon, are closing And they're trying to figure out the whole library system, again, through volunteers or private funds, and it's a struggle because, unfortunately, as I was reading it, I think they have one urban area, and that city or town voted to bring that one library back, but not allow the other people to use the library without paying for the service, and of course that affects the people who can't afford it and the rural citizens the most because they don't have access anymore, and their town voted not to give them that access. So it is a problem. Just to explain the Wellesley system, the town covers all of the Maine, right? We do get help from the state, but the town covers all of Maine, the main library. We have the Hills Library, which was recently voted back into the town operating structure. So now the town covers, I would say 90% of the operating services at Hills. The Fells Library, which is the one that we just renovated and will be opening November 17th, is 100% privately funded through mostly the foundation, the Wellesley Free Library Foundation funds that operation. We actually at Wellesley have been in a position where our circulation is growing, so it's definitely not decreasing. We see a trend line that's growing, and we're very happy to have the support and very fortunate to have the support that Wellesley can provide.
I'm not all that familiar with it, but I think your Minuteman system list was liking some other towns like Natick.
Yeah, Natick's part of Minuteman. Westwood's part of Minuteman.
Everyone should know how broad that system is.
Yeah, 41 libraries, I believe in like over 60 locations. It's got, I think, 35 public libraries and 6 academic libraries involved in that consortium. And because you have a Minuteman library card, you have quick and convenient access to all of those materials. As we discussed, over 6 million items that you have access to because of being part of that Minuteman system. So it's wonderful.
I had a couple of questions. One about the Minuteman, actually.
Yeah.
Besides being a lending facility, is there what other collaboration is there within the Minuteman system? And then another question is, some of the ideas you're doing at Wellesley, is that happening in other libraries in the system? And then I'm recently retired, and I was wondering what Wellesley's doing and what you see the role of the library in the future for volunteering opportunities.
Okay, let's go back to one.
So, Minuteman system, how collaborative
Yeah.
to the future, the changes you're making
Yeah.
to the library system, is that Wellesley-centric, or are you seeing other places? And 3, the role of the library in terms of volunteering activities.
Yes, okay, so Minuteman system collaboration, yes, we see collaboration throughout. We actually, it's a really great opportunity for people to do training, especially with our ILS, which is the system that checks out books to everybody. So Minuteman provides training on those kinds of things, provides training on how to get statistics from the ILS, how to look at trends from the ILS. And then there is collaboration sometimes with programming. Towns are very different than a county system though, right? Because everybody's independent, everybody charges its own fines, everybody does its own thing. But we did just have a program that was Minuteman-wide, where people could do like a day where they could library hop, and you did a scavenger hunt, and then you got prizes. But the idea was to just get everybody out there and see all the libraries that are involved in Minuteman. In addition, Minuteman just created a new website, which is very user-friendly and kind of shows you all the libraries that are involved and gives you access to all of them. So there is collaboration. Then what libraries are doing in the Minuteman system, Wellesley's absolutely not alone. Wellesley's, I would say, giant behind whatever people have been doing. I think that slide that I showed you, maybe back in the beginning, I listed 2 Minuteman libraries. All of those libraries that I listed are going through renovation processes right now. And so Medford, they just voted to build a new library, a huge new renovation for their library. Woburn is going to be opening soon, a beautiful giant renovation. They are also getting an AMH. Lexington has gone through renovations. This is the McAuliffe branch of the Framingham system, and that is a newer library that was just recently opened. Brookline was renovating Coolidge Corner, and then if you drive down Sherburne, you'll see that they are doing a big renovation project as well. So Minuteman is also involved in that.
Volunteers.
There's plenty of volunteer opportunities at the library. Our assistant director, Elise McLennan, you can always contact her. She'll give you a little form to fill out, ask you, what kind of interests, what kinds of skills, talents that you have, and she'll try to match you best to something we have going on at the library. Typically, a lot of volunteer opportunities include shelving and reshelving books. But there is an opportunity, for tech-savvy volunteers to help out in our Jackie's room. And we do one-on-one training with people. A lot of times people will come in with a new iPhone or a new laptop and they just don't know how to set it up, how to use it, finding that they're getting the help they need through corporations. So we provide help with that as well. Thank you.
Many people, perhaps most, spend a fair amount of time on their laptops at home. I'm wondering if you bring the laptop to your library, what could you or should you do that you can't do at home?
I'm sorry, what thing?
If you bring your laptops to the library, what can you do with it that you can't do at home?
You can actually be around people, right? So I also read something somewhere that you can get your movies online, right? You can go to Netflix, but people are still going to movie theaters, and I think part of that is because you just want to be around people and you still need a human connection. And so I think that's a big part of it, actually, and that's why you see people at Starbucks with their laptops. And but we also have extremely high, really fast Wi-Fi, which thanks to the MLP, we get for the patrons of Wellesley and the town of Wellesley, and that's a great partnership, and so it's faster than your normal Wi-Fi. But I truly think that kind of human connection, even if you're not speaking with someone next to you, being around people is important.
I don't do exactly some of these improvements in the library we like. But one of the nicest memories I have of the library is, the college library at NYU. It was a big, vast area with food tables and chairs. One had now a room off to the side that was surrounded with classics. So in other words, and lounge chairs was something at that time we didn't have libraries. So I don't know if you're envisioning anything like this at the Wellesley's library. But there you see, if you were interested in literature, the classics were there, and there was space of several thousand volumes, and you could walk around the shelves and browse. So that, I think, ought to be something that's handy. People could easily access without going through the lengthy shelves. The second thing that would be nice, I'm sure I mentioned something like this, is that new things that are coming out. Like I see on news report broadcast about Paul Woodward's new book about politics and Trump. Why you could go to the library, go to a room where several editions of these new books and popular books were available right on the shelf.
So I'm glad you said that because, well, first of all, I think that idea of being inspired in a building is really important, and that's something we want to capture if we do a renovation. But getting that newest book and not having to wait on a 200-person wait list can happen if you're lucky. We have books called Lucky You at the Wellesley Library, and these are books that do not get put into the books that go on hold for people. So there are books that only can be checked out by people who come into the library and see it there, and they can't be placed on hold. So you can get lucky, and we buy multiple copies of books like Bob Woodward's book or the most recent John Grisham or something else. so that people have that opportunity to come in and grab that popular book right off the shelf and not have to wait on a wait list. How lucky you.
So my question is, what is the career future for young people who are interested in library science and information technology?
Yeah, I think the future is people, and I think that a lot of times young librarians or people studying library studies tend to think, I love archives, I love books, I love materials, and I think those jobs are dwindling a little, but the people who go into library service and love people are going to have a great career, because that's what public libraries are about, is serving people, and you're interacting with people day in and day out. And the change from being a quick information finder of like a question like, how many people live in America, to I can't load this onto my iPhone and I need help. So librarians are becoming technology trainers instead of quick information givers. And technology training is huge for librarians in the future.
I think there's a fringe benefit that you neglected to mention, that is the activities sponsored by the Friends of the Library.
Absolutely.
Music programs, the speaker programs.
Yes.
I don't carry a smartphone, I only have a dumb phone.
It's still a phone in your pocket.
I was at home when I used
Oh,
it.
is it? One of the rare. So I did neglect to mention the Friends. So we are very fortunate that we have the Wellesley Free Library Foundation, and as I said, they provide large financing for things like operation of valves, for the renovation of valves. They provide some of our outreach funds, and our ESL program. If you aren't aware, this is a good volunteer opportunity too. English as a second language, and a lot of tutors meeting up with people who are learning English, and so we're always looking for volunteers to become tutors or trainers for ESL, but that's funded through the foundation. The Friends, that we also have the Wellesley Friends of the Wellesley Free Library, and they fund our fish tank, which is actually one of our most popular things in the library and is on the library card. They fund the fish tank, they fund all of our children's programs and all of our adult programs. So when you see a speaker come in or a presenter come in, that's been funded by the Friends. And so again, we are extremely fortunate. We're well funded through the town, but the thing that makes us excellent is our private support. And we couldn't be doing many of the things we do without that private support. We were one of the first libraries in New England to get robots and to have digital literacy training with real robots. And that only happened because of the support of the foundation. Yeah.
I have another, you mentioned ebooks.
Yeah.
So, I'm not much better than the guy who's in the dumb phone. I have a smartphone, but I'm not that smart with my smartphone. And my tablet. So if you go to the Minuteman website, how would you best learn how to use what the ebooks are that are available to download and stuff? Where would you go to?
So if you're home and you want to go to the website and learn how to do it, call us. I think the best way, as I talked about technology trainers, we have librarians who will walk you through every single step of that and work with the specific device you're on and get you a book downloaded, so that if you can't do it yourself, they'll train you how to do the first one, they'll help you with the second one, they'll help you with the third one, until you're ready to do it by yourself. But I think the best way is to call the librarian. Absolutely.
In regard to the maintenance of your number of holdings, you have a lot of things coming in, and what's the process for determining when items need to be abandoned, sent out, cleared away?
So we call that weeding, and we use the statistics from the ILS, and the librarians have collection guidelines that they use. It can vary by collection. Medical books, we want to actually look through almost every 1 to 2 years, because that can change so much that we don't want books on the shelf that are inaccurate. So those can leave the collection quickly. We have bestsellers that we may have purchased 10 copies of. And when that hold list leaves us and no longer people are reading all of those copies of, let's say, Harry Potter, we will delete some of those books from our collection, so we maintain maybe 1 or 2 instead of 10. So it really depends on the collection, but there are different guidelines that we use. How many times it's been checked out in the past, how important is it for the community to hold on to this book. There may be books that have never been checked out, but it's by a Wellesley author. We want to keep that book in the collection because it reflects our community. So there are different guidelines we use to maintain the collection, but we also want to keep books on the shelves that are active, right? So we want to not be a sort of warehouse for books. We want books that are being checked out most of the time. Yes?
I'll speak loudly. So I hear you mention e-books.
Yeah.
I thought I was computer literate, but I haven't kept up with e-books. So could you just give us a very brief outline of what an e-book is, how it works, what's available, how you do it?
Okay. Briefly, an e-book is an electronic book. So you have your print book, and then you have your e-book. Your e-book is exactly like your print book, but you can find it on a computer. So you go into your app and you download that title. And then when you download that title, all of those pages, all of those words from the print copy have been downloaded onto your computer, and you can just read it like you're reading a Word document.
What app?
Overdrive. Overdrive's a big one. We have different ones as well. So but Overdrive would be what you want to look for. And again, please call us. Call the librarians. They're there to help you, and they're there to give you all of this information and help you through it and download these books and get you going.
Well, I think we should probably make that the last question. I need to thank you very much on behalf of American Issues for coming today. And if I could just add a little personal note, we're very much a library family. And we happen to live within walking distance now of the main library. And prior to that, within walking distance of the branch library when our children were little. So that was always the destination for our walks. And I really attribute the library to the fact that our children became avid readers and library supporters. So thank you so much for today and for the library for many, many years of what you do in Wellesley.
Thank you.
Thank you.